welcome to a live edition of the Rising Tide Leadership Podcast, Identity and Influence. I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Lem, to wrap up the week. What's up, man?
Let's go. How you doing, man? Always great to be on a call with you. Looking forward to our conversation today about leadership and the future and, what we need to be in order to be on top of it. So let's go.
Yeah, I've talked about this before, and everybody knows that's listened for the past while that Satya Nadella is one of my go-to leadership guys, and he said something pretty astonishing just recently. And there's an article talking about how he pretty much told Microsoft leadership, "Hey, get on board or get out." And what do I mean? Recently, it was reported that he told senior leaders that they have to fully commit to the company's AI transformation or leave. I mean, talk about an ultimatum that signals zero tolerance. And he's like, I don't have time for a half-hearted buy-in. So when you hear something like that, before I get to some of my thoughts, what do you think when you hear a leader say that? Hey, get on board, get out.
There are a lot of thoughts that come to mind. There are things happening in the organization and the culture of the organization. But I think the first thing that comes to mind is an identity thing, right? So identity is like my first, go-to frame, and in order to put a statement out like that, in order to lead in that way, in with such a strong, focus and very determined focus, clear vision, like there has to be a strong sense of identity, a strong sense of self, and a security in yourself in order to put a statement out like that. Like weak leaders don't do that kind of thing. Wishy-washy leaders don't do that kind of thing. And here's the deal: like we don't know if it's gonna work. It might bite them in the butt, but like that's not the point. The point is he's a strong leader, and he's got a strong sense of identity and a clear vision for where he thinks the company should head, and it's pretty bold. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, when I heard that story, I thought to myself, how long has he been at Microsoft? And so I went back and looked, and it's been since 2014.
Okay.
So it's been over a decade.
Yeah.
Like you said, it could be good, it could be bad. We're going to find out. But the questions that I had are, okay, is this guy, does he need to go? And now he's just giving ultimatums, or does he know the company and the company culture so well that now he can give an ultimatum?
Yeah.
Because you know me, I'm all about the buy-in. And John
Yeah.
Maxwell says that before a leader buys into the vision, they buy into the leader. A
Yeah.
lot of people over the years have bought in to Satya, but maybe not everybody, because if he had to give the ultimatum, there's dissension in that boardroom.
Yeah. As I was saying earlier, I think there's that cultural piece. The one article that I looked at said that it has served Microsoft well to be a software company for decades, right? And they've been on the front end of of computing because of their software. But this is a fundamental shift from a software company to an AI intelligence integration kind of company. They're still going to pump out software, but they want to go all in on uh, intelligence, AI. And so like for me, like that's, I mean, it takes a strong leader to make that shift, but it's also like a cultural shift in the organization. And they really are looking at the future. Like this is what's happening in computing, in stuff online today. And so like everyone's jumping on board. And so like it's a bold move, but I think he's moving the company, like, because we all know Microsoft as a software company, right? We all have their software. We use Word, we use PowerPoint. Like that's how we talk about presentations. But to make that shift, I mean, it's pretty bold, and I think it's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's not just the leader. He's trying to change the whole culture of the organization, and so like I think he'll do it.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm thinking about is, look, let's talk about vision versus consensus.
Yeah.
When is draw the line leadership necessary, and when is it going to backfire?
Yeah.
I've been a sports coach for my whole life. There are times when you are leading that you have to draw the line. Hey, get on board or get out. You know the
Yep.
culture, and most favorite term or favorite phrase to student athletes: figure it out. And there's time for that, but then there's also time to get people on board. And AI is just moving so fast now that people can't even do that. I
Yeah.
heard, and I can't confirm this, so maybe our listeners, our YouTube audience can let me know. But ChatGPT is getting a little bit, they're getting a little bit scared because like Gemini is incredible,
Yeah.
and they're doing some good stuff. And so the ChatGPT CEO just recently said, we need to go back to a bare bones. We need to figure this out. We need to go to the ground level, and everything has to be towards making our AI better
Yeah.
because it's growing so fast now. I think that's what Satya's talking about and what he's worried about. I think because he's such a good leader, he's a vision guy that he can say some of those things, and I think he's hoping to get enough people on his side where it's going to tip the scales his way.
Yeah. The one article that I read suggested that reports are saying that not really, like, no one's really using Microsoft Copilot. Like, I signed up for it because I have a Microsoft account, but it's not my go-to. You know what I mean? So, like, when I
Yeah,
read that, this article that I read, yeah, I mean, not many people are using it. Now, it's kind of baked into some of their software, and we all use their software. So, like, I guess it's getting used in that way. But yeah, I'm not necessarily going to Copilot first. In the last 2 months, I've only heard of one colleague, one friend that said that he uses Copilot, but only after he's written what he wants to write does he go to Copilot to check, And so, I mean, in the last couple of months, I've only heard one person talk about Copilot, and so I think part of the dynamic here is that board members might be a little bit leery of this because we're trying to go all in on this thing, which, like we said, is pretty awesome, but not many people are using the tool. So we'll see how that all plays out. You think that they can make the turn? I mean, if ChatGPT is worried, because there's all kinds of AI out there these days. You know what I mean? Like, what's the differentiator for Microsoft? You think they can pull this off?
I don't know. Notice when I said ChatGPT versus Gemini, I didn't even mention Copilot because it didn't even come in my mind. I've got a Copilot account as well,
Yeah,
but I can't remember the last time I used it.
yeah, yeah. I haven't really. Yeah, I never log on to it. And again, I think it's baked into some, like, the tools, but like I never. Yeah, I don't know that I use it necessarily. Yeah.
Okay, now, far be it from me that I would give any advice to Satya Nadella. Um, but let me just remind people about a program that used to be called Encarta. Do you remember Encarta?
Yeah, years ago.
Yeah. What was Encarta? Encarta was Microsoft's Wikipedia,
Yep.
and they were going to integrate it into their software. And what happened? Wikipedia took over.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Wikipedia. Not very many people, unless they're our age, remembers Encarta, right?
Yeah.
And so because it was about paid and versus free and collaborative versus non-collaborative. And so my question for Microsoft is, are you about to miss it again?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's definitely a bold leadership move. And yeah, I mean, are they going to miss it again? I mean, it's still very new and it's still open. But then, like, have you ever used Google's Notebook LM?
Dude, you know what's funny is one of my buddies just mentioned it to me. Tell me more
Bro,
about it. I
it's
literally just downloaded it.
dude, it's amazing. You can put in, say you're planning a trip to somewhere or you're planning a project. You can take websites, you can take all the things from anywhere, put it into
Yeah.
Notebook LM. Notebook LM will do all the research and organize it for you. And then if you want, you press a button and it'll create like a 15-minute podcast episode of two people talking about the stuff that you asked it to research. It's so not only is it
Wait, is
research
this
and it,
free?
yeah, It's free. And so
You don't. There's no like $2.99 a month or whatever.
no, and if you're planning a trip or well, I mean, obviously there's a paid version where you can add more words and add more resources, but like, you put 10 resources in the thing to figure out like a trip to Haiti or a trip to wherever, or we could do it for one of our projects. Like these are all the ideas that we have. This is all the resources that we're using. Put it all together and then it presents it to you. And then you hit a button and it can make a 15-minute podcast of two people talking back and forth presenting your idea to you. Like, dude, it's pretty amazing. And I don't know that Copilot is doing any of that yet. I mean, they might be. Who knows? I haven't
So
looked.
here's the way that I see it. We're at a crossroads. Is there a bubble? Probably. Is it going to burst the way that the internet bubble did? Maybe. But beta was better than VHS.
Mhm.
But VHS won because beta was clunky and it was big and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think we're in a race right now. And I think Satya Nadella knows that he's in a race and they got to do something quick because they don't have the name notoriety, which they
Yeah.
should, because like you said, Microsoft is what we do. I mean, we all use Microsoft.
Yeah.
I'm on Word right now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm on my Microsoft 365 in the Army. We use Microsoft, but I heard rumors that the military might be, or at least the Army might be going to another platform. I don't know. So he's probably thinking about this stuff because it's all about AI in the future. So I don't want to get bogged down. I got one more thing. It's actually like
Yeah.
it's a broader question based on this. There's another report that just came out, and it's this. There's a record number of CEO turnover in U.S. corporations in 2025. So this report shows that CEOs that are leaving their companies is the highest on record, even among like strong performing companies. And so what does this suggest? I don't know. Maybe that leadership is hyper evaluated. It could be volatile. Some of my colleagues and friends that were CEOs this year at the beginning of the year, they're not CEOs anymore of those same corporations or LLCs or whatever. So what are your thoughts on that?
Man, I am not, like I've been listening to some finance podcasts because it's like the thing that I know least about, especially with like tariffs and like all the stuff happening like in finance. Like I know nothing about it. So I've been listening to a bunch of those podcasts. And it's really interesting from their perspective. I mean, a lot of CEOs are leaving because like the world is changing and honestly it's the same thing with the CEO at Microsoft. Like the world is changing, the old models are no longer working and people are trying to figure out what the next thing is. And and from the podcast that I've been listening to, like they're getting paid a lot of money and they write some pretty amazing deals for themselves that whether they succeed or they don't succeed, like they do really, really well. So sadly, it's more about like their pocketbook than it is about like the organization or what it is that they're doing. But I think the gap is a leadership gap. You know what I mean? It's a we don't have enough level 5 leaders running companies these days because they're thinking about themselves. That's what I'm saying. Like the turnover in leadership is the antithesis to a level 5 leader because you would keep a level 5 leader because it isn't about themselves. It is about the organization. It's about what it is that they're doing in the world. And so I think the leadership gap there, no matter what's happening in the organization or in the culture, like we just don't think about leadership. We just don't have that level 5 leader running these companies, because they're thinking about themselves. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think a lot of these leaders think they're level 5 leaders, but most people, if you ask them what level they are, they'll say, "Oh, I'm a level 3, maybe 4." No, you're not. You're maybe a level 2, maybe,
Yeah.
but you're probably a
Yeah.
level 1, if that.
Yeah.
So based on
Yeah.
what you said, here's my thoughts. What is leadership going to be about in 2026? Here it is, right here. Know this, write it down, get ready to live it. It's about adaptability because
Yep.
adaptability is going to be the core competency. Leaders today have way too much pressure. It's not just
Mhm.
about performance anymore, it's about transformation. Going back to Satya, it's not just about performance. It's
Yeah.
about transformation. we're at a very specific time in history with AI, and I
Mhm.
can't wait to see who wins this race. But there are going to be some winners, some big winners and big losers. And I think a lot of leaders in these big companies for the last 25 years since the internet boom have gotten lazy. And
Yeah.
so they're not adaptable anymore. They have to be adaptable. So in fact, I think that's what we're going to talk about in 2026 for Rising Tide. I think we're going
All
to do an
right.
entire thing on adaptability and are you adaptable? So I'll give you the last word. Go.
On the identity and on the identity side, I think because of the rise of AI and artificial, I think what's the big focus in 2026 on the identity side of things is what's real, what's authentic, because man, you can watch a video and then you don't even know whether it's real or not anymore because it just looks so real. And so real feelings, real ideas, real people like Satya, like just being honest and being authentic, that's the stuff that I think will win. And so yeah, man, I'm looking forward to what we're gonna put together and how we're gonna track, what's happening in leadership and in 2026. That'll be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I love it. Leaders, it's almost over. So hopefully your goals are ready. We're going to be putting out some more stuff about goals next week.
Yes,
But until
sir.
then, are you adaptable? Drop a comment and let us know. And let's see how you do in 2026. We're rooting for you. Don't
Yeah.
forget to sign up for our newsletter. We give you all the good stuff. Dr. Lem, till
Yes,
next time,
sir.
brother. I
Yes,
appreciate it,
sir.
man.